Have you ever flexed something for content and then felt cringy afterwards?
I mean, I bought a Ferrari.
That made you feel cringy?
Yeah, driving a Ferrari sucks. It's like the worst thing about owning a Ferrari is owning a Ferrari.
Welcome to the Full Throttle Podcast, where we talk cars, chaos, and questionable life choices made at 100 miles an hour. I'm your host, Mickey Andre, professional wrench spinner, serial Skyline car project addict, and a guy who's somehow made a career out of bad decisions. Today's guest has become a certified SoCal Car Scene staple, part content creator, part media wizard, part guy who somehow gets away with filming burnout videos and calling it marketing. He's been behind some of the most iconic car content for the past decade, helped shape the OG Hoonigan empire, and still manages to fly under the radar like your favorite underrated Fast and Furious stars. He's built cars, filmed chaos, and probably gotten more tire smoke in his lungs than the average drift team. My good friend, the man who probably has a whole hard drive labeled "Do Not Post," Vin Anatra. Welcome to Full Throttle.
Hey man, thanks for having me. You said it was going to be a roast, but it was pretty nice.
Sometimes you could take some of those things as kind of a roast, like Fast and Furious. Some people that's not that serious. Some people it's, oh man, that's kind of hokey. So
no, it was nice. A lot of Hoonigan reference, which I'm trying to put behind me, but no, it's a big part of my past. So
I'm sure. Well, we're going to get into that today. Obviously, maybe not too deep, but we do want to talk about where you came from and where you're going, and sort of your passion for cars and those sorts of things. So let's get right into it, brother.
Awesome.
So first question I had for you, Vin, is what was your first project car, and how did it shape the car guy that you are today?
Oh man, first project car was my first car. I bought a 1996 Volkswagen GTI Mark III.
Okay.
2.05 speed.
Okay, you're speaking gibberish to me, but
Yeah.
I'm not from the VW world.
Okay, so for people who don't know about Volkswagens, boring. I'm talking like 87 wheel horsepower.
Oh man, I have a similar story.
Yeah. But it was cool, and the Volkswagen scene was really big, especially in the East Coast.
Okay, and you're from the East Coast originally?
I'm from New York. I grew up in New York. I moved out here almost 10 years ago. But like West Coast is all Hondas. East Coast, the scene was Volkswagens, man. It was huge. So the community was really good. And I wanted a VR6, which is like their better motor, but I couldn't afford one. I bought the car that kind of just got me into the scene.
Sure,
so that was my first project
So
car.
base model.
Well, the Golf
or?
is the base model. The
Okay.
GTI is like the performance model, but
Okay.
then they had the 2-liter, which
Right.
like is really a stretch calling it a performance car. And then they had the VR6.
Okay.
I got the 2-liter.
Which was the one, the desirable one.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's similar to the Civics, EX.
Yeah, I was like,
DX,
I basically
SI.
had the D series
Okay.
of I had the single cam non-VTEC.
I brought that actual car up because my first car, which was my first project car as well, just like you, was a Civic hatchback EF, and I had a DX. I couldn't afford an SI.
Yeah,
right?
it's fine.
So
It's fine.
I made do. I put a big shot of nitrous in it and blew it sky high. But
I still managed to blow up a transmission in a car that made 87 horsepower. Which
you were
is
giving it.
shocking, but yeah.
Well, did that? Do you feel like that car defined your who you are as a car guy today?
Oh yeah, still
okay.
to the day. I mean, all the habits that I learned back then, and even the styling, I think is very similar.
Really?
Like, I wheel and dealed my way to get parts for that car. Like, I
Okay.
traded a standard STA BMX frame for like Recaro seats
Dang.
and retrofitted them into the car.
Dude,
like,
I feel like that's a pretty savvy trade, dude.
dude, that was sick back then. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I traded a BMX frame for some Recaros. I bought these like old cool 15 by 8 inch wheels and like refinished them, and like
Heck yeah.
a lot of the same type of things that I do now, which is like deal hunting,
Heck
kind of wheeling and dealing, and like really like OEM plus styling of of
That's
things.
one of the things I love about your YouTube channel is like, and that's what kind of catches me is all those cool trades and things that you do, the parts that you find and buy. And
I mean, that's what I love doing. I
the
always
thrill of
joke
the hunt.
that like I'm not a good YouTuber because I like boring cars, and I don't mean like boring cars. I just mean like I
That's
like
debatable.
subtle styling.
Right.
Subtle styling to me is everything.
yeah, no crazy wings and stuff like that. Or
No, yeah. I'm like
if it's OEM, it's good.
I'm not a stock car guy. I'm not a OEM. I'm not like a purist, but I just like subtle styling.
Right.
Like in the European car scene, it's all about doing the most you can do that only people in that scene will recognize,
Okay,
but
yeah.
other people won't. It's the most like absolutely ridiculous thing. Whereas like I always joked about like in the JDM scene, it was more like doing stuff that everyone's going to recognize,
right,
you know,
right.
whether you're into cars or not, like it's undeniably changed. So yeah,
for sure.
it's
Totally
kind of silly. The Euro scene is hilarious.
I kind of vibe with that, honestly.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's like, it shows you're sort of a creator within that space of that genre of cars, and you're going to go to a length that most people don't even recognize.
Yeah,
except if you're that deep into it.
Yeah, it's built for nerds, 100%.
I love it. Well, so that leads me to the SoCal car scene. You're from the East Coast. I'm from Ohio, which is the Midwest. So it's sort of a similar car scene out there. A lot of V-dubs and stuff like that as well. A lot of imports. But do you think that the SoCal car scene is still thriving, or do you think that it's lost what made it special out here?
I don't know what you mean by the second part of that, because like I've only been out here for 10 years, but the SoCal car scene is nuts. It's better than anywhere on the planet. I think
agree.
that there's a lot of there's currently like a lot of hype around other places, like Japan specifically,
Thailand.
But you go to like, it's mind blowing. I mean, California has everything.
It's a car culture here for sure.
It's a car culture. People think that it's super strict, and there are a lot of rules and regulations, but the scene is bigger than anywhere. The cars you see out here are crazier than anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, just this weekend, my brother was out here from New York, and he's like blown away by the stuff that you just see on the streets here. And it's like,
at any given weekend, there's a car event.
yeah. And like, it's not uncommon to see like an R34 GTR on the street.
Cruising
Like,
on the freeway,
it's crazy. And like, there's literally something for everyone here, which is cool. I actually think the one thing that really sucks about Southern California car culture is that there's too much. and I mean that in a really weird way, because
I agree with you.
At Hoonigan, we used to say we never want to do events in SoCal because it's so hard to get people to show up.
Because they're like, well, I'll just go to the event next weekend.
Yeah, you're like, there's
they'll do
one
it
closer. There's, something more up my alley. It's like, it's so easy to just do something that's like close to home.
Yeah.
Whereas when we finished my Mark II GTI, I built it with FCP Euro out in Connecticut. And we were like, oh, let's do like a little event, like when the car's done, a little pop-up.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I'm like, I didn't bring merch to sell. I didn't really do anything, because I was just like, it's just going to be like a couple of my homies are going to come out. Like maybe 50 cars will show up.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, 6 p.m. 500 people showed up.
Oh my God.
It was huge. People drove from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, like all over.
Because maybe it was the only event going on that week.
And they were just like, it was like kind of season opener time. And it's like, they don't do a lot. There's not a lot of events like that. So people just like turn up. And it's so exciting for those people. And they're so willing to drive far and go to places and like stay. Whereas here, I mean, I was going to go to an event this weekend. It was like an hour and 10 minutes away. And then I was like, there's a SoCal Drivers Club's doing something. It's next door to my shop. I'm just going to go there. And I think that kind of like, it's good and bad. Like, it's sick that we have so much, but also it like desensitizes the community a bit to like how awesome it is.
It's almost too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that about the East Coast events turn into almost like Woodstock, man, where you're like, I remember going to Carlisle events in PA and we'd stay overnight.
Yeah.
It's like Friday we'll get there, Saturday and Sunday are the event, we'll roll out Sunday afternoon, and you're like camping or getting a hotel room.
Yeah, dude.
That doesn't happen here, really.
Volkswagen shows, we had like Waterfest, H2O, which I know a lot of non-European car guys know and girls know about. But we used to go to Show and Go, Waterfest, whatever. It was at Englishtown, New Jersey. Yeah. And we were all from New York. So we would drive out there, get hotels, like party.
And that wasn't
have like
too
a whole
far,
weekend.
right?
No, it was like super fun. And so I just like don't see that as much here. So
no, it definitely is not like that here. And I've had this discussion with the boys in this building before as well. It's a different world. And these guys are from the East Coast too. Like Evan and Rick are from Buffalo, New York, or Rochester, sorry. So yeah, we a bunch of East Coast boys out here. And I think we all came out here because of the car scene.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, it's so cool. I like live and breathe cars. Nothing makes me happier than car stuff. It's like, I always joke that I'm like, it's the one hobby that I've had since I was a child, essentially, and have not gotten sick of. And this is my career. I do this for work, and I still do it for fun after, too. Like, it's like, it hasn't gotten old to me, and it's so cool. So, like,
it's cool, man.
SoCal is just crazy for it. It's like, yeah, it's awesome.
So this might be a little redundant. and we may have already touched on it in the previous question, but what's something that people outside of California, they don't understand about the car scene here, you think? Is there anything that stands out to you?
Yeah. Okay. So Southern California, we have good roads, but they're only on the outskirts of the city. We don't have it's absolute trash to drive every single place in California except the canyons. Yeah, also, dude, but the roads in between. I never
realized that. Yeah, like you say it.
You know, like you're down in Georgia or whatever. There's like back roads everywhere. It's all just nice little back roads. Nothing super exciting, but good back roads. Here, it's like you're either sitting in traffic, driving on the crappiest highways and roads ever, but then there's just like this amazing mountain roads that surround the area.
Yeah. You just gotta go find them.
Yeah. Also, if you've never driven in California in general, my friend Tony Harmer put it the best way ever, which is you're either doing 0 or 100. Yeah. There's no speed limit here somewhere. You just like get on the freeway. You could do 1,000 miles an hour if not recklessly, but if traffic's moving, it's just like how it is.
You're not going to get pulled over for keeping up with traffic here.
Yeah, which could be like 90.
See, your family, when they come out from the East Coast, they have to realize that and see it, right?
I vividly remember that.
You're doing 85 miles an hour. You're going to get us in trouble.
You know, you get your mom in the passenger seat. She's always like ready to hit you with the mom bar. You
exactly,
know? I remember she came out. We were in my E90 328. The mom bar, you know?
That's a real thing.
We were in my E90 328. And I'm in the middle lane on the 405, like up in West LA, doing 90. And my mom was like, slow down. What are you doing? And I'm like, as a minivan, just like buzzes us.
Look
and I'm
around us. Like, we're not even the fastest car.
Yeah, like I am not speeding. So California, driving out here is sort of a trip.
Just keep up with traffic. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like you build a car out here. It's got to have like, it's got to be you got to have a good cooling system.
Oh yeah.
You know, because no matter what you do, no matter what time of day, you're going to sit in traffic.
Well, and that's why I think I did some research when I first met. I couldn't understand why they let motorcycles split lanes.
Yeah.
And I found out that's because, they're air cooled. Or sorry.
Oh, a lot of them are.
So if they sat in traffic, they would overheat. So they let them lane split in order to keep them cool.
Yeah, because where I'm from in New York, you're not allowed to do that.
But right, Ohio too.
Yeah.
So, but now that the bikes are water cooled, like it doesn't matter. But they still have left that law in place. So.
It's pretty good.
It's kind of sketchy. That's the reason I don't have a motorcycle.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love motorcycles. When I lived in New York, I had a couple bikes, and I moved out here, and I was like, hell yeah, I gotta get a bike. Canyon Road's gonna be so fun. And I literally used to commute from Santa Monica to Long Beach, and I was like, I never want to ride a motorcycle on these freeways ever. Like, this is terrifying. Yeah. If you ride a motorcycle, good for you, but that looks terrifying.
And
you
got
here.
Bigger balls than I do.
Yeah, straight up.
All right, Vin. Well, let's change gears here a little bit. I want to dig back into your past just a wee bit. We don't have to get too crazy, but I wanted to ask if there was a moment from the time that you worked for Hoonigan alongside Ken Block. Was there something that completely changed your life on or off camera that he may have provoked in you, or something that you that stood out? Because I worked for Ken very briefly, and even in that short time that I worked for him, I think he instilled a few things in me that I still hold close to me to this day. So I'm sure you worked with him quite a bit longer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty bad with questions like that because I feel like I can't remember like a specific moment, but I do always kind of like look back on it as being very fortunate to work so closely to someone who not only is just so successful, but has like paved the road in a lot of ways. I mean, Ken changed action sports. Like the way Ken did marketing was like different than anyone's ever seen it before.
He was pioneer.
And both him and Brian Scotto were like very open book and transparent. Like if you were willing to do the work and you were willing to put in the effort, those guys weren't going to gatekeep anything from you. So for me, just like as stupid as it sounds, like just knowing Ken and getting to work closely with Ken and Brian was like kind of life-changing in itself. Sure. I started at Hoonigan as a entry-level marketing coordinator that I wasn't even qualified for that job. So for me, like I literally was doing nothing before that that mattered. Like,
you were qualified for that job because they said you were.
Yeah. Brian,
because they saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself.
I knew Scotto sort of through way of Volkswagens.
Sure. Yeah.
Like our car crews were like adjacent.
I knew Brian was sort of from the same cloth as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So we like knew the same group of friends. And literally, he just hit me up one day and was like, "Hey, I got a job opening at Hoonigan. I heard you need a job." Because I used to always pester Ron Zaris and Matt Tassillo.
Yep.
And one of the things Brian said to me was just like, "Hey, if you suck, like I'm gonna fire you. So you got to move out here and then deal with it."
Yeah, he fired me. Long story. Fun one though.
I mean, I'm here for it.
Nah, we're not gonna get into that today.
Okay.
I think when I have Brian on,
Nice. That'll be so funny.
that will be a good one.
But yeah, just working with those guys, like you learn so much from experience. Like I'm not book smart, I'm not school smart, but like I think just like experiential learning is big for me, and like what I've learned in all my experience and like kind of climbing up the corporate ladder at Hoonigan when it was a bigger company than people knew and everything is like just getting really close to all like C-suite people and things like that, and just having that like exposure to how people like move and how they do stuff is really cool. And then you reflect back on Ken and it's like,
and this dude was doing things differently, huh?
he was just doing things way differently. It wasn't always like money motivated, and he had a lot of responsibility to like keep his crew and his people employed and happy. And like he just
one thing that I took away, he was very good at.
Yeah.
He looked after his people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember talking to him and being like, you don't have to do this anymore. And he was like, I have all these people that rely on me. Like I want to keep doing it. And he
Very
liked having fun.
man.
But like, yeah, just doing things like a different way and like seeing how like it wasn't just like money motivated. It was all about like doing stuff that you enjoy, like doing stuff that you think people will enjoy, which I think is like for the industry we're all in of like creating entertainment. It's like you can't always just be doing something that's self-fulfilling. Right. You got to do stuff that you enjoy doing because that's where the passion comes from. But like stuff that you think about on the end user, like how excited are they going to be to watch it? And it just kind of like shifted your whole kind of thought of it all.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit.
Hit me.
So, what really changed at Hoonigan after Wheel Pros bought it, and did it kill the vibe inside the building?
Not immediately. So, I did business development. I was like the partnerships guy.
And you were very good at that.
Thank you. And I was actually the guy who like told Brian Henderson, who worked at Wheel Pros. He was like the M&A guy there, marketing guy. And I told him that Hoonigan was on the market and sort of opened up the deal.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
And then before,
so you're to blame.
kind of. But I mean, Hoonigan was trying to sell for years before that. So
Sure.
it was its path anyways. But we were all nervous about it. And like, I wasn't an owner, but like Brian's my good friend.
Yeah.
He's an owner. So I remember vividly saying to him, he was so nervous about it. And I was just like, we were in a pretty dark time. And I was like, hey man, it can't get any worse than it is.
Yeah.
Cause like we were like scrounging pennies and like, we were just like not doing well. So
totally.
I think when it first happened, we were really excited because it was like promise of money and like backing and, a little bit more like freedom to like
You could get it further down the road.
Yeah. Grow the team,
it,
make the building nice, like hire more people, be able to take these ideas we had. So the way for anyone out there who watched Hoonigan never understood like how it all worked. We didn't have marketing dollars.
Right.
Every
It's all
dollar,
guerrilla marketing.
every dollar that we used to make these like big projects were paid for by partners.
Right.
Which sometimes could be hard. So like if you want to do something and you're like, we want to build a Rolls-Royce drift car.
Yep. Who's going to pay for it?
Well, we didn't have the money for it. So my job was to go out to companies
Go
and
find the money.
talk to, Borla and be like, oh, wow, like you guys started in 1976 and this is a 76 and we could do this and what.
Yeah. You had to put connect the dots, basically.
So with Wheel Pros, the thought was, and this would kind of be like just eliminating my job, but I had other things going on there too.
Sure.
So, but it would be like, you don't need to go find those partners to get the projects greenlit. We can now be like, what's a good idea? Building an IndyCar powered Honda Ridgeline, and they would pay for it. And then we would find sponsors to help support it and like ones that fit.
Right.
So we were all actually pretty excited about that because we were like, hell yeah, like let's get out of this.
This is the way of the future.
Yeah, because we're always behind. You're always like, you come up with an idea, then you got to get it funded, but you can't start it until you get it funded, and then it's a thrash. So we were like, in some ways, really pumped. And then, I think some of the things that weren't so great were just like, it all comes down to like a money game, So it's all like, that seems good, but then that doesn't really happen. Budgets get cut.
Yep.
You know, everything has to have a crazy margin. Also, like, this is going to sound really stupid to some business people, but like some businesses just have a cap, you know, like they just have a sweet spot where they could operate.
It just needs to stay here.
In corporate America, there has to be year over year growth. So like every year it's like, you're going to grow. And if you don't grow, we're going to cut costs to make the margins higher. And it's like, that sort of started to really like weigh in on people because you start really have to reaching for more money, and it's like stuff you don't really want to do.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of wild comments on, you know, past posts on Instagram and social medias with regards to Hoonigan after the acquisition by Wheel Pros and everything. And, you know, 99% of it is somebody's idea of what actually happened. So it's nice to hear it from you, someone that was on the inside, someone that was part of the acquisition, to explain what actually happened and why it went the course that it went.
Yeah, and like I'm not even the expert in it. I mean, it's my first time being a part of a business that got acquired, you know? So it was like a whole new world. And
Which
I think
is really cool, by the way.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, I don't think you're really prepared for it. I mean, look at like even Scotto, who was like my mentor. It was his first time, and he learned a lot through the whole experience because
we all did.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is like you're going into a world where a big private equity company who owns Wheel Pros too. Yeah. So even like another layer on top is purchasing these businesses, and the people who run that business have been doing this forever. So they're like, imagine them coming in here and trying to figure out how to make YouTube videos. You'd be like, you don't know the first thing. So it's like the same. We're kind of like, we're just like dumb kids going into this like
but the
whole
thing
situation.
Is you guys were experts in your space.
Yeah.
At that time, and still, I think all of you guys are still sort of doing that sort of thing, and you're very good at it. So for the bean counters and the super executives to not understand, to let you guys stay in your lane and do what you do well.
Yeah.
That's
well, the big thing with that is
man.
like you can't really quantify fan sentiment.
Right.
Like it doesn't mean shit.
You can put dollars on it.
It means nothing for people to like your videos and to comment and say nice things, and like that doesn't like there's no trackable way for people to be like, that means we sold more X.
Right.
Like because there is no like link click there, or there's no way that you see the traffic come in. So like they didn't realize like audience sentiment comes from the nonsense that we do that seems unprofessional.
Right.
You know, like the things that happen on camera is what people like, and that's what drives the business. Even if it makes no sense to you, you have to just trust that that's what works.
Right. Or it sold a $5 sticker that he put on the window of his truck that you see on the freeway. There's no way to put a dollar value on that, but that person liked the brand and what you guys are doing so much that they spent their money that they work hard for to represent the brand, and you guys built an army of people.
It's that. Well, it's exactly that. Is we always joked that it was like we cultivated a cult, right? And it was like people lived and died for Hoonigan. They were so into the brand. And you know what you cannot create? You cannot build an audience of raving fans like that if you're only selling them a product. If you're just like,
can't buy it.
Buy this t-shirt, watch this show, discounts, free shipping, like all that crap that like directly drives sales doesn't drive fan affinity.
Right.
So like the things that do are the stuff that loses money. It's the crap that's fun. It's the stuff that they're not being sold on. Like that's all the stuff that really makes people love the brand.
Creates the super fan.
And I think that was really like a difficult shift, because like you look at these idiot kids who have no business background.
Right.
And you're like, but you guys are wasting money on this stuff. And we're like, but it'll work out. And they're like, how's it going to work out? We're like, well, we don't like really know, but it's good. Like, this is what makes the thing a thing, you know? And I feel like that was kind of like really where corporate America and like small, nimble YouTube business just like clash, because they don't.
The highs and lows, man.
Yeah, they don't understand it. I mean, I could go on this forever. So
I mean, I have an added question to that question. So, you know, there obviously it ran its course, right?
Yeah.
So what did it feel like when it was like it sunk into you and you realized it was time to walk away?
Oh man,
how did that feel inside?
Dude, honestly, hardest decision I've ever had to make.
Really? I can imagine, dude.
I was never like the brand person in terms of like, I wasn't the guy who wanted to go out and like completely decimate my car like Hurt would build his work stallion, crash a thing on day one and like be stoked. I was never really like that, but I loved what we did as a brand. And I think that it was something I was really proud of because, you would meet people at shows and they'd be like, man, I got into the automotive industry because of Hoonigan. Like I grew up watching Hoonigan in high school and then I got a job as a fabricator or I did this and that. And you were like,
such a good feeling.
I don't even care what we were doing in terms of like, yeah, some of it seemed really stupid with burnouts and whatever. But like really what we were doing is just like getting people into cars, like making people see that cars are fun and then like joining in. Yeah. So like a lot of our people were like sort of entry level. They weren't the like hardcore, already in the scene drifters and racers, but it was like people getting into it. And that was really cool for me.
I think that was super relatable to a lot of the audience because it's somebody that it could have been them.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wasn't some guy that had 20 years of experience or anything like that.
So, we built our content around that. And as we got through like ownership of private equity and we needed to like only do things that made sense, it became, okay, well now the YouTube shows that you can make, we're going to go out, we're going to batch film them.
Yep.
Because that's cheap. We spend $100 and something thousand. We send all these people out. You shoot 20 episodes over 2 days.
Yep.
And then you go back and go do your desk job. Right?
Yep.
So
makes sense.
That was fine at first. Like this versus that, I thought was a good show. We were all pretty hyped. The views are really good. Like it was cool. We were like, well, if we get to do some other stuff around it, like that's great.
Yeah.
But after a couple of years, it like really became just that, and the audience sentiment started to fall. And
you can only do that for so long, right?
You gotta like
people.
Yeah.
They go blind to it basically at some point.
You lose your core audience, and then you can build this new drag race audience, but that's kind of like a whole different business. So. Like for me,
Pivot to then they went off-road.
Yeah,
racing,
I wasn't around for that,
Yeah.
but I was just like, to me, optically, nobody understood. Like you joked about it with comments. Like there's always a forensic scientist in the comment well who knows everything that's going on somehow, and you're like, does this person work here? Like how's this possible? But
or did you just make this up in your head?
Yeah, but like sometimes they're pretty accurate. Yeah. But we were like, like optically, I was one of the faces of the brand, which to everyone else is like people who are running the brand. Like all the shots that got called were like, me and Scotto and whatever, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I was kind of like, I see this ship going down.
Yep.
And I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the guy who just stayed with the ship and went down, and everyone out there is like, you guys sold out, you guys ruined this business for us, whatever. And it's like, I didn't sell out, I didn't get paid, I didn't have like equity in the company, I'm just a dude doing my job, and now my job changed. So for me, the big like leap was, do you leave now and be like, I'm very happy with what we built and now it's time to go,
move on,
or do you stay with it and everyone thinks that like you were just kind of let it go and that's, you get forgotten about, you just go down and people are like, who is all those guys that were on that channel that used to be cool? Like, so I was like, I kind of just want to get out of here. And like, I didn't even plan to do it.
Start fresh.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even plan to do a YouTube channel. I got a job at Haggerty.
Okay.
Doing sales.
No way.
Yeah. That's what made me leave, is I was like, okay, cool. I got another job. I'm going to make some money.
Yeah.
And then we made my like leaving Hoonigan video and it did 1.2 million views.
Hey, well, gotta do this now.
I got like 60,000 subs. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll make some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it and I was like, hey, this is like, I was like, doing it on your own is kind of fun. Like, it's cool. And like the momentum was there. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to, do all my little side jobs and I'm going to make YouTube videos and I'm going to figure out which one makes sense and like which one I like the most. And that was a really rough year.
Seems logical. Well, I'm sure it was, man. Trust me, I think every creator has those ideas and thoughts in their head, but it's taking that leap and getting it to a point where it's financially stable.
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
because there's no,
for all you guys, YouTube is not a get rich quick scheme. You're not going to make a ton of money on it. And also like, I think hustle culture is like dead, thank God, because it's going to kill all of us. But I was working 2 different jobs and making YouTube content last year. And I was just like spent.
You're killing yourself.
And I was like, I don't know, but like the YouTube wasn't really making enough money to sustain. And I had to have other income coming in. And, this year is actually my first year that I was like, no side work. I only do YouTube.
Focus
that was my
on
number
YouTube.
one thing. I was like, as soon as the year ended last year, I was like, that's it. only doing YouTube from here on out, and it's been still hard, but better.
Yeah, man. Like we went into depth in the podcast with TJ about a lot of that because he went through a year or two where he was making a video every day.
Insane.
And it's like, man, that's nuts. And it takes some wherewithal to really pull that off.
See, I always like bounce back and forth between like content because I think I joined obviously too late. Like I started my channel in 2024. So I have to try.
Didn't get that wicked.
Well,
well,
not that, but
nice
I have to try so hard to make good stuff to get good views and grow subs. You know, TJ, Adam, DDE, like these guys started over 12, 13, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So they were like of the mindset.
They were part of YouTube's actual
right.
growth,
So they're like making vlogs and, you know, like I think they all make good stuff now quality wise. And they have, but you know, they were like in this volume model.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That was a thing for a while.
Because sometimes I'm like, I think I'd be better to just do like 5 vlogs a week than I would like trying to come up with like one idea a week. But honestly, like the truth is that both are insanely hard on completely different sides. Even just turning on a camera and doing that 5 days a week and like finishing something and doing something interesting enough every day is like insane.
Yeah, TJ was explaining to me like back then he made a 4-minute video about how to apply a vinyl decal, and that was a day's work.
Because you just have to.
And that was part of just creating something every day because then the algorithm was feeding that.
Yeah.
So, but now it's different.
Yeah, and I was spoiled at Hoonigan. I was telling Amelia Hartford about this because, like, when I first started, we were chatting about something, and I was like, I never edited a video. I never made a thumbnail.
I never have.
I never titled a video before.
Yeah, so this is all new to you.
I would just be in the content, and Hoonigan videos were like, we would spend a lot of time, like, coming up with ideas, you know, because creative was important to us, but we never did, like, scripted anything, research. It was literally like, okay, we're gonna go do something, and then you show up and you're just like, all right, rip it, you know, and just
and
go.
then leave it to the editors to make it what it is.
Overshoot a ton, you know, run GoPros until the batteries die, like do the whole thing.
I think we've been there.
Yeah. I feel so bad for editors. I'm so nice to Jolly now. I always like try to make my clips real tidy because I'm like, after editing a couple videos, I'm like, whoo, boy.
Now I get it.
Yeah, yikes.
Well, let's take this one step further, and then we'll carry on from this topic. But do you feel like the Hoonigan brand is too far gone now? Say the powers that be were able to get the brand back from the current ownership. Do you think the brand, too much damage has been done at this point for it to still exist and be what it was?
You don't think I've thought about this before?
That's why I'm asking you, brother. I know you've thought about it.
For any of the guys out there watching and want the tip. It'll never work for business because they wouldn't allow it. But what I would do, so I guess to answer your question shortly and then get into it is, right now I think it's too far gone.
Yeah.
Do I think it can have a resurgence? Yes. What I think they would need to do is shut it down right now. Stop making content for
a
year, or like just go away. In the background, come up with some cool stuff. Like come up with new ideas, do them well. Like figure out what your brand is moving forward, and then resurrect it.
Yep.
Like I think it's not like people still like the brand. People have so much attachment to it. I mean, Thrasher was sick, went away, came back. Now people who don't even like skateboards wear Thrasher.
Yeah,
so like,
for sure.
I think that there's a lot to be said about that. I just think like right now you have this like angry audience. Well, actually, I think they lost most of their audience. Like you look at the views, you look at the comments, like
it's not good.
They're kind of gone.
Yeah.
But when they first happened, like you lost this audience. Like people were just pissed off.
Yeah.
And you're not going to change that yet. So I think like
there was a massive uprising. It seems like now it's like in a lull.
Yeah, I think people, it's the internet.
Yeah.
The internet stops caring about things in weeks. So,
True.
So I think like, I do think the name itself carries enough like nostalgia, as weird as that is, 'cause it's not that old, but like, I think it has enough that if it went away and you missed it and then it came back with stuff that you really cared about, like it was reborn, what that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I tend to agree with you.
But I think it could. I think right now it's just like, and I don't want to bash anyone there, but I just don't think they're like paying attention to their audience.
Yeah.
And when you make YouTube content or content in general, or you have a product to sell, or you just do anything. If you're just a business, you have to know your customers.
Sure.
And you have to know what people want. And like, I think that when all this stuff went down, they never addressed it. So the audience felt like, why aren't you talking to us?
Yeah, what's going on?
You know, DDE got the building. They never mentioned it.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it was very strange.
Why is everyone hiding this from us? Like, you don't care about us. Then, you know, you do the drag racing thing some more. You kind of don't talk about it. And then they just started a new series. And like, I still watch.
Yeah.
And the first thing they said was, we're all sick of drag racing, and I bet you guys are too. And I'm like,
really?
Y'all have only been making drag racing content the last like 3 years. You've now built a drag racing audience.
Yeah.
Like, realize that. Like,
the audience.
Yeah. You know, so I think it's like, you just gotta, I think they gotta take a step back, like look at who their audience is, define what the brand is, and then either like go back into it hard or like take a break and come back big. I mean,
that's good insight. And I tend to agree. I think the brand will always be there, as it was so strong for so long.
And we all knew it. Like Scotto, you know, Ron, Hurt, Dan, like we all were like, look, eventually, like we want this business to last forever. Yeah. Eventually we will phase out and bring in new talent.
Yeah.
But I think you have to do that more strategically.
Yep.
Like
100%.
You know, you need to like get people into doing it.
Yeah, you can't just cold turkey people in. You got to bring them in, get them up to speed.
Yeah,
they got to be around and recognizable to the audience.
Look at Donut. Donut did it. They started as like a James Pumphrey show, essentially.
Yep.
And then they brought in new talent.
Yep.
And like, I'm pretty good friends with Jeremiah Burton.
Yep.
And he said that his first year at Donut was horrible. Like, people were just like ripping him. They hated him. They hated him. And then he became loved.
He became
and then
the
they
man.
brought in, you know, they brought in Job, and like they built that. And then they had their whole like kerfuffle, you know, and then they have some new people, and there's guys like Jimmy and stuff who like are on and doing a good job, but you know, the views are lower.
Yeah.
So like, I think there has to be a real strategic, like, exciting way to bring people on. I mean, we brought new people onto Hoonigan. Look at Soupy. Like Soupy came on, people loved him. You know, like Dan was a new guy. Dan came in pretty late, and like people love Dan. So like, there's ways to do it. I just think like, I don't know. So that's probably a better question for Scotto, because I'm sure he has it all road mapped out. But I think it's possible to come back. I think it's too soon. I think the wound is still a bit. Like, the wound is scabbed over right now, and people stopped, you know, picking at it. But I think it needs some time to heal.
I got a visual.
Me too. I don't know why that's where I went. I was just thinking about like a crusty little scab on my knee.
You detailed that out really nice. So tell us more about Driver's Era. I see your T-shirt there. I know it's a brand that you've started. What are your long-term goals for it?
Yeah, so Driver's Era actually started a couple years back, and I love buying and selling cars. So I started as
I know that about you.
Yeah. So I started as a dealership, and I wanted to only sell cars from what I called the Driver's Era. So like late 90s to like 2010, early 2010.
Makes perfect sense.
All the cars I love the most. So like, I bought a couple cars and I was selling a couple cars, and like that was cool. But it was like nearing the end of the pandemic, and I didn't want to do it because everyone had just got done overpaying for their car.
Right.
So like, I had a thing on my website that was like, you want me to sell your car or want me to buy your car? Whatever. And like, one of the lines was like, if it's listed, I've seen it and I don't want it. But people would still send me their listings that are already listed. They'd be like, hey, I have a E92 M3 with 87,000 miles and one accident. I want $48,000 for it. And I'm like, cool. That's a $23,000 car. So like, what am I going to do with this?
I'm not going to be the guy that overpays for your bucket.
Right. So like, I quickly was like, you know, this is a bad time to do it. I think you got to let the market kind of settle, and then I'll do it. I still want to do a dealership in the future. I just got my license this week, so I'm gonna finally do it, but it's probably like a year out.
Take it slow.
So I kind of just had that page sitting. It had like, you know, 20,000 followers on Instagram, and I was like, I love the name. So when I started the YouTube channel, you know, the 3 pillars of doing YouTube is like ad rev, which is shit.
Yep.
Sponsorships, which drive your life. And then merch sales. But I was like, the last thing I want to do is put like Vintra, my YouTube channel name, like on a shirt, because it's not like Throtl. It's not like a
Yeah.
It's like it's like my name.
But
so.
you need a merch outlet.
We need a merch outlet. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do Driver's Error. I think Driver's Error would be like a cool name, build it into it. And it's sort of like my tagline for it is like losers like me. You know, my internal tagline, losers like me.
I love
like
it, dude.
you like wrench on cars, you love cars, you like go to track days, you go drifting, but you also like probably go to more cars and coffee because like your life's busy and like, but like you live and breathe this shit.
Yeah.
You know, and like the era of cars is defined as like speed is nothing without feeling. I don't give a shit about your Tesla Model S Plaid.
Right.
I don't care about the new, you know, G82 that makes 1,000 horsepower. Like it's all so boring. Like give me, you know, cars with feeling, cars with emotion, like things
it
that
can be 200 horsepower.
dude,
That's okay.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
How does it make you feel?
Does it have sick induction noise? Does it sound cool? Like, how does the clutch feel and like the gear selector? Like, it's just like cars with emotion, and that's what I really love. So I want to build a brand that like celebrates that.
I love that. It's very clear that you put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah,
Like, I feel the same way. Like in hearing you explain all that, it really moves me. Like
because I drive a lot of new fun cars, and to me, like if you drive a Maserati MT20, 720S, an Aventador, which sounds cooler, but like, you know, like whatever, a Lamborghini and, you know, a 488 or like a SF90 or whatever the fuck new Ferrari. They all do like the same thing and they all kind of provide the same emotion.
They do.
They're like super fast, super precise. They're, you know, sharp.
Crazy looking.
They're like comfortable, but feel sporty. But they all like provide the same emotion. Like if you close your eyes and and if they don't have like a sound thing that changes, like I don't know if you can't. If
Would you
can
say
really,
it's almost numb?
I don't even want to say numb, but it's just like the experience is all the same. Whereas like you get in some of the older cars,
You hop in
and
an
you're like,
NSX or
and you're like, this feels like what it
E36,
is.
M3.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like that's probably such like old guy talking, but I just feel like those cars from the generation I like really they all have their own like really unique characteristics, and like
that's the driver's era.
yeah, and it's like it doesn't matter like how fast it is, you know? Like I mean,
That may be the old guy talking because I feel exactly the same as you.
And
I think
I
it
know a
just
lot of
takes
people
maybe some
don't.
years of experience to sort of realize it.
Well, because I think a lot of the new stuff is like on paper cooler, you know? Like,
Sure.
oh, it makes 700 horsepower factory. It runs at 10.
Super reliable.
Yeah, and
with
like
that kind of power.
that's cool, but like go hit it, and you're just like, okay, I don't know. And like I still like it. Like I would daily some of that stuff, but like on the weekend, I want some nonsense. You know, I like nonsense. You need just enough.
Yeah, I agree. Well, dude, I wish you the best of luck with driver's area, whatever it turns into. It sounds like it's a little bit of a moving target, but
It's just a
you've got
time
basis.
thing.
And
You know what I told you earlier in this episode where I was like, I'm only doing YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm
you
only
just
doing
contradicted
YouTube.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm only doing YouTube, and I'm trying to do a merch brand also, which is hard.
But I mean, I
So-
think the YouTube model is to have some level of other income, which is typically a merch brand or something along those lines.
And I think if it's something cool that I think like people out there like and like vibe with, like we'll build it over time. Like I don't need to have an overnight $1 million merch business. Yeah. Like I think if I could build it up slowly and do it, like it's cool. I look at when I started my YouTube channel, you know, a year and a half ago versus where I'm at now, we make so much better stuff.
Yep.
So I'm like, it's okay.
Slow
Like
growth
I will build this and like eventually it'll be really sick. It's like, this is like super tangential, but the one thing I learned in life recently is like, you don't have to come out with your final product. Like so many people don't ever do anything because they don't start with they think they have to start with their final product. But in reality, it's like,
it's so true.
if you got an idea and you like it, like do it and you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know,
I worked for a brand previously that struggled with that same thing where they strove for perfection and they were very good at it, but they never really hit the ground running because they were never happy with the product they were putting out. So they postponed it. And then the one time they did put something out, it ended up not being the best product.
Well, that's the thing is like you do it so much, you might even ruin your own product because you spent so much time like being like so close to it, you know? And I think, it's like embarrassing, but you got to get over that. Like I'm like, you know what?
Put it out there.
I'd rather just do it.
Redefine it.
Yeah,
as you go.
It's fine. And like I said, people forgot. People almost have completely forgotten about Hoonigan. So like whatever little fumble I make,
No,
you know?
it's a blip on the radar.
Yeah, people got things going on. They'll forget. It's fine.
Well, thank you for explaining that. It helps me a little bit because I've always seen your brand and I didn't know what it entailed. So
yeah,
it's
thanks,
good for the audience and myself. So what's something about being a car content creator that totally sucks that no one talks about? Is there anything that comes out at you like, I hate doing this, but it's part of the game?
Yeah, a lot, I think.
I agree.
There's a lot. So a couple things, and this is like where you really, let me think. So I still love doing what I do.
Yeah.
And I actually make it a point to like not vlog a lot of stuff. So like,
Okay.
I actually say like, I'm not a vlogger. I just make videos. I make YouTube videos.
I
for
would
cars.
say that's accurate.
And so in some ways I feel like I'm in a better position than like, you know, TJ, for example, because I don't have to go and like vlog everything I do.
Yeah. You don't have to show your life behind the scenes.
But he's in a better position in a lot of ways because he gets to go do something fun and could just make a video. Whereas
Sure.
like I can't really do it.
Yeah.
So I think like the one thing I really don't like is like the way you build cars. And I realized like how much I've screwed up. So I just bought an S15 because I want a drift car, and I bought like a pretty completed one, but it needs some work.
I was happy to see that.
And I knew you would be. And I've been like talking to my friends about what I want to do to it. And I keep telling them like, I don't need knuckles yet. Like it's got extended, you know, it's got like extended tie rods and like some little things. I'm like, but I'm going to go drive it. And I'm going to do subframe bushings. I'm going to do new dampers and an alignment. I'm going to go drive it more. Yeah. And then I'm going to change the knuckles. And then if I don't like the knuckle, then I'll put a different knuckle on.
Yep.
And like YouTube doesn't really allow that. Like it doesn't allow you to build a car like you did when you were a kid, or like when you were younger and you were just an enthusiast.
One step at a time as you got the money you learned something.
Yeah.
Or
now it's like you got to do everything at once. So it's like the YouTube build is like, get the car, get all the new suspension arms, get every adjustable arm and every steering part imaginable and put it on the car.
Fit it in one video.
And then you go out and you're like, well, is it like my caster setting that sucks? Or is it the Ackerman on my knuckles? I don't really know because I just did it all at once.
Overcomplicated it, basically.
Is it the dampers because I got two ways instead of just like, you know, and it just gets
there, man.
Dude, I built my E36 LS car. It was supposed to be a Gymkhana grid car. That series never happened. So I repurposed it to be a track car. I took it out and I was like, wow, I'm so in over my head. Because it was like big power car. It had a 1.5 way diff in it that I wasn't sure if the lockup was right. It had 3-way dampers. It had aero that was adjustable on the front and the rear. It had like, you go out and you're like, okay, it doesn't really work the way I want it to.
What do I change first?
I'm like, I need a race team to figure this out because I built it like an idiot. You know,
I used to get that way in Gran Turismo when they added all the functionality of the downforce aero and all that. You could make these changes to yaw and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
Dude, we'd call them Forza builds. Yeah. Because you just like drop down menu, select all, do it. And you're like, but then you end up and you're like, I did all this crap. It's not necessarily good, but like I had to do it for YouTube. Also, I had to build it fast and I didn't get to finish the like last pieces of it. And it was like super. So I think like the building car portions of it is like pretty bad. So like my S15, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do a lot of content with it. I just want it to be like my fun car that I like develop over time.
But man, I
and
think
drive.
the audience will appreciate that. And especially if you frame it the way we just did in this conversation to your audience, I think they'll get it.
I was thinking about doing like, and I know, you know, and you guys could comment below and let us know what you think about it, but I was thinking about doing like a Patreon page where I do like lo-fi videos because I like making videos.
Yeah.
But
and they don't need to be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes long.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's just like I could do a Patreon page where I like put a different angle kit on my car and I talk to you about Ackerman and I shoot it on my iPhone and I chop it up
super
and it's like
easy.
This way you get to follow the journey of the S15, but on main channel YouTube, I mean, as you guys know, and if you guys aren't aware, it's title and thumbnail is how YouTube works.
Yep.
So like, how do I title like, I don't know about steering Ackerman, so now I'm changing my scrub radius. You're like, I'm out. I'm not watching that video. 7 people are watching that. So yeah, like that I think is the only hard part. Other than that, like I mean, I love it. Like some days I have to like do a lot of work.
Yeah.
But the work is cool. I I guess if I had to complain for something, just like pull the curtain back on people. So like I drove a lot of cool cars recently.
Yeah.
And I mean, I drove a Carrera GT. Holy shit.
The
I drove,
Widowmaker.
yeah, I drove the Gunther Works Turbo.
Dude.
And people are like, how are they? And I'm like, oh, they're awesome. But I don't really get a full experience because, you know, in journalism, like if you work with road and track, like they just like give you a car for like a week.
Yeah.
This, I get
you
like,
go beat on it and...
Yeah, I get like a very select amount of time. So I'm like filming a whole episode and then I'm in the car, I'm talking to the camera, we're shooting rolling shots.
You're not paying attention.
And you have so much to do and then it's over that you don't really get to like take in the full experience, you know? Like, and you'll see it if you watch some of my videos, like I'll get really excited and like just completely blow what I have to talk about because I'm like, this is sick. But it's hard to like enjoy, get the job done, and like, you know, when you're shooting rollers, you have to like follow the cameraman and stuff. So it's like it's a lot to do all at once.
It's a lot up here,
But that's complaining about awesome shit, which I won't do because it's like, guess what?
No, but
that's still an incredible day at work.
It definitely addresses the question, though.
Yeah,
there, you know, it is fun what you do and what I do for a living, but there are with everything downsides.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're not just doing it for fun.
No.
So
but I show up here every day because I love what I do.
100%, dude.
The pluses outweigh the minuses.
Oh yeah, that's like everything in life. And I mean, it's been a year and a half of doing my own YouTube, and I wanted to quit a couple times. And I'm like, honestly, this is like my ideal life. Like I love doing it.
So, with your past in arranging brand deals and finding money for projects for previous brands, is there one brand deal that stands out to you that was, you don't have to mention the name, but is there one that was like, why did we do this? This is the worst shit ever.
At Hoonigan or me personally?
Either one.
Yeah, there's been a bunch.
Yeah.
I think sometimes like the biggest thing with brands is if you're a brand and you're working with creators, you have to let go a little bit. You have to let the people who have cultivated an audience do what they know how to do to reach that audience. Yeah. So anytime a brand would come in and get too involved and ruin an idea to like hit
because they're too controlling,
because they need a bullet point hit or they need something, is like, that was always really bad because this is where there's a lot of power in no, and we never really got to get there with a lot of brands. Is like, I do it now. If a brand wants to work with me and I'm stoked on it, and then they give me this whole like suite of stuff that I have to do, I'm like, sorry, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me because you know what? If I piss off those people watching the video,
they're not going to watch again.
Then they don't come back. Then it all falls apart over what? Like a small brand deal or like whatever. So to me, it's like brands just need to trust the people that they're working with.
A lot of creators will take the money to take the money because they need it.
Yeah, it's tempting.
It's a means to an end for the channel or whatever. But I think sometimes they can be detrimental.
Yeah, dude. Brand deals could be big, and like turning down like tens of thousands of dollars is crazy for most people.
Yeah, but if it doesn't fit the motif of what you're trying to put out there to your audience, and it can also be
horrible,
just as damaging.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Vin, do you ever feel pressure to keep up with other people online? There's obviously a ton of creators in our space, automotive in general, but do you ever just say, fuck it, and do your own thing and not care what others are doing? Or do you pretty much follow what's on trend and try to kind of keep it to what others are doing?
Yes to both. So yeah, like I always compare myself upwards to my friends who are doing better than me. I don't really stay on trend, and I always say like my biggest thing is I don't really make viral content, which is stupid, but I do always like, I aspire to do better from the people who I look up to. I mean, it's like I go visit TJ, I see his shop, I see all his cars, I see his merch business, I see his views that he does, and I'm like, I got to get there. Like that's what I want to do.
And that's really bright. And there's a lot of really good creators in our space that are even larger than you, larger than us, that are doing really cool stuff and constantly pivoting and doing what's the next big thing. And it's neat to sit back and see all that happen and then figure out what your own spin or angle is on that. Yeah,
and you know, I have a bunch of friends in the space because of my time at Hoonigan. So like DDE, Damon, is like an open book. He always helps me out, gives me like, you know, what he's doing. You know, James Pumphrey, we just did a video together and he was like, said something that was like, yeah, we're still trying to define our channel. Like, we don't really know what it is yet. And it's like, that's cool. Like, just do it.
Yeah, it's been out for more than a year.
Just figure it out.
Trying
you know?
to find it. That's cool, man. It's neat that he's open about that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I know that channel has always sort of been an anomaly to me because they did a car video after his Why I Left video, and then it went to like a fashion video.
Yeah,
or
they did. They did. And I told him, like, he
place.
made a video about like how to dress as an adult. And I was like, dude, that was a great video. Like, I think a lot of us like find ourselves in that position. It's like great. And that video crushed. It did like 2 million views.
Yeah.
Good for him. Like, killing
way
it.
outside of what his traditional audience would have expected.
Yeah.
So to carry on, Vin, what's the most money you've ever blown on a car and immediately questioned your life choice?
I bought my first and most expensive. I bought my first GT3, which was my most expensive car I ever bought, on a conference call at Hoonigan.
Oh my God.
While I was on a conference call.
So you're doing multiple things at once, and you're like, yes, I need this.
Well, I had looked at it, but I was bidding on it while I was on a call.
Vin, are you listening? Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah. I'm definitely listening. So a couple days before that, I drove up to San Fran with a trailer by myself to go buy a 997 GT3, and it was dogged. And I was like, I could have got it for pretty cheap, but I was like, I can't buy a car.
Was it someone's race car or something? Or?
It was just some rich kid's fucking car. So I was like, I can't buy a car for this much money and like feel like not stoked on it.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just crazy. So I walked, and then literally like 2 days later, I was looking at this car and bring a trailer, and I was just like bidding on it, and I fucking won it, and my heart sank, and I was like, oh my God, did I just buy this? Like, what the heck? But it ended up not being a regret, but it was very scary.
And that's not the car you have now?
No, I traded that car plus some cash for the 997 RS that I have now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is dream spec.
Unbelievable.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping you would drive that down here.
That's a car that is like phenomenal, but not really in like traffic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not driving that shit down here.
Dream car of mine. For sure. That's so awesome.
You got to drive it sometime though. It's amazing.
Don't offer that.
It's okay. You got a GTR. We could.
Oh, that's true. We could have a little trade. So have you ever flexed something for content and then felt cringy afterwards? I think we've all done it at some point, but
I mean, I bought a Ferrari.
And that made you feel cringy?
Yeah. Oh, driving a Ferrari sucks. It's like the worst thing about owning a Ferrari is owning a Ferrari. But I wanted to do it. I really I needed something for the channel. And I was like, you know, one of my jokes I had when I left Hoonigan was like, I just want to like have fun with my friends and buy a Ferrari. And I did it.
Both now.
And I felt really embarrassed to tell people I bought a Ferrari. Because I was like, this is so, like, my car's a piece of shit. And it was when I bought it, but like the name is so, it's just like the name has so much like arrogance to it that I was like,
status symbol.
Yeah. So I was that.
It's like when you carry that key around.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's a great answer. I mean, we bought the Ferrari that's sitting behind you, and of course it doesn't belong to any of us. It's a company asset. But I've never honestly driven it in public because of that.
Yeah, you feel like a douche most times. Yeah. I mean, it's really fun to drive, but like you feel like a douche.
And the car that you bought is it's part of the driver's era, in my opinion.
Yeah,
of Ferraris.
I have one mission with the 360. Get people to stop buying air-cooled Porsches. Yo, for the price, I'm telling all you guys out there, if you want to buy a 996 or an air-cooled Porsche, for less than that, you can buy a Ferrari 360 and have a V8 that revs to 9,000 RPM. It's so much better.
Yeah, it's good advice, dude.
It's way more fun, as long as you could deal with looking like a douche and having hard parts to find.
Yeah, and you've experienced it. But you've done some really cool content on that car. Like I was a little on the fence about your interior redo, but it seems to have
held
worked
up
out.
great.
And I was like, I don't know that's gonna hold up, but if you're saying it does,
you know, I was like in the same boat. I was like, I don't really care. I was like, this interior sucks. If it doesn't hold up, I just have to buy it anyways. I have to buy it now.
Or rebuy.
So I just redid the dash and like some of the pieces, but I'm actually still keeping the door panels, which were dyed because they're in great shape. Crazy.
See, I thought those are what would fail first.
Me too. They're great, and I've driven the car 12,000 miles since I dyed it. Nuts.
Great content too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you could go back and get all the money you've ever spent on cars, which is a lot, would you take the refund or would you keep the memories that you made with those cars?
Nah, I'd keep the cars. 100%. Because one, I feel like I probably have spent $0 on cars with all the wheeling and dealing I've done.
I believe that, honestly.
But also, without doing it, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am. Like, the cars fuel so much of it for me. Like, having cool cars and driving cool cars is like probably, what the hell else would I do with my money? What do I want? I go sit in my house? Like,
I buy cars instead of playing the stock market. So
like
to the choir here.
I go on vacations and I'm kind of bored after a couple of days. Like, I don't know what else. What would I want to do with the money? I'll take the cars.
Well, that's a simple answer. I love it. Was there ever a time that you felt like walking away from the car scene? Or have you just been passionate about it the whole time?
I can't say I have.
Yeah.
No, I love it too much. I don't know what the hell I would do without it.
I'm the same way, man.
I don't know what I would do without cars.
What are your other hobbies? Just out of interest, my own interest.
So, I mean, I like architecture, interior design. I still try to ride bikes every now and then.
BMX, road bike?
Yeah, BMX, mountain bike.
Okay.
Honestly, just like outdoor stuff, going camping, things like that.
I gather from watching your video content about the architecture, the house you bought was really cool.
Yeah, I love and I mean, I just like working with my hands. So like we renovated our house mostly ourselves.
Damn, that's cool.
Do a lot of the design stuff.
A lot of car guys don't know how to do house stuff.
I can't say I'm great at all of it, but yeah. And then the other thing that's fun about it is like we have a mid-century house, so it kind of gives you like, you get to kind of wheel and deal stuff too. So it's like, oh, I want like like a chair that hasn't been made since the 50s, and you got to like find it, and you go and buy it, and like maybe you have to like send it out and get it reupholstered.
That
or, like,
sounds dangerous.
And then you could like sell it and buy something else. So like, I don't know, it's kind of fun. I like that stuff.
Scotto's the same way, right? He has a mid-century.
He's so I would say I'm at like this level, and then like Scotto and his wife are like,
they're way up there.
They're like, they're doing like museum shit. I'm like, I'm still just making a cool house to live in.
And then Jared Deanda, the voice of Formula D, is also...
His house looks sick. I haven't been out there yet, but Riverside apparently has some cool stuff.
I'm told. So I used to rent a mid-century modern home in Oceanside, which was really cool. Bummed we didn't buy it, but at the time it was listed way too high. But now I'm kicking myself because it's doubled in value since then. And just glass everywhere. Just
it's so
such
cool.
A neat setup.
I wish I had more hobbies, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't even have enough time to finish the hobbies I want. So I'm like,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, like cars and like bikes and like house stuff like takes up so much, and then the other hobbies I have, I just want to be like peaceful, like outdoor stuff, going camping, hiking, things like that is just to like not have a thing. I've recently said, I'm like, I want to get into like golf or like shooting handguns. And then you get into it and you're like, oh my God, I have so much more things to buy and learn about. Obsession. And you're like, what the heck?
This is another thing to search on eBay.
Dude, insane.
Yeah. Is there something your younger self would be stoked to see you doing today?
Shit, all of this.
Everything.
All this, yeah. I always knew I didn't want to work like a conventional job and like live a regular life, but I had no idea what would happen. I figured I would just end up, I don't know.
Make your own luck, dude.
Yeah, straight up. I don't know. I think, like 20-year-old me would be fucking blown away. So I'm stoked.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer. Do you ever struggle with imposter syndrome, or are you past that all? Like,
I don't know,
because I touched on it earlier.
I guess I don't feel like I'm shit. So like,
same.
Like I don't have imposter syndrome because I'm like, who the hell am I? I guess I feel more like...
I think that sort of feeds imposter syndromes because you're like, you don't feel worthy of what you've gained or what you're doing. I think every creator falls into it a little bit.
I don't know. I think like, I know I work really hard, so I deserve like the fruits of my labor, but I don't really feel like I'm anything. So I don't know if I like I'm just like a dude with a YouTube channel. I'm not like
I think you're selling yourself.
I'm not like a movie star or anything. But I struggle more with just like the confidence to keep doing it. Like
I can see that.
As a team, it's easy to
I don't see that in you. I can see that as
Thank you. Problem. But I mean, I think I hide it pretty well. I'm a pretty confident human being, but like when you have a team, it's easy to like rally the troops. When you're by yourself, like sometimes like, the camera turns on and you're just like, I'm slumming it. And I'm like,
what am I doing?
Like, I don't feel like doing it. And I'm like, am I even good enough to keep going? Like, that
lends itself to that vibe.
That shit's a struggle, man. So yeah. I guess that's kind of more of it.
Yeah. Well, you give yourself credit though. And that's important. I think that's part of the battle. And dude, you're very good at what you do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Stuff. I just found it as an interesting question because I think every creator sort of struggles with something along that level, not necessarily imposter syndrome, but feeling worthy of what they're doing and that the audience is attentive and would give you the credit where it's due.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot more to it than just the actual video editing and putting it out
dude,
there.
I always tell people, I'm like, appreciate your content creators, because if they're doing it, like, it's a lot of work and they're just doing it for you, you know? Like, it's crazy.
That's why when people, make comments in the comment section that are backhanded or negative, it's like, do you realize that we're creating free content for you to consume?
Yeah. And I don't know. I think the YouTube world is kind of cool because, like, you do ads and stuff, and I was, like, kind of nervous to do ads at first. And, like, all the comments were like, hey, we're happy you're doing ads. And you're like, thanks. Like, I need to.
And that might be a newer thing. Like, the audience just understands that it's a means to an end. If you're not doing ads, you're making money somewhere else.
Right. You have to.
If you are doing ads, that means you're actually putting forth the effort to make the channel exist for your audience.
Yeah. And, like, to make it better.
Yeah.
Because, like, YouTube's interesting because it's, like, the lowest barrier of entry thing you can get into. You just need, like, an iPhone that you already have, and you could pretty much start a YouTube channel.
You have to have some charisma and some gumption. But
yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, money-wise.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, it was like when I got ads and stuff, I was like, oh, cool. Now I can, like, pay my media dude to, like, help me shoot, make better episodes. We can go travel somewhere to do something.
And man, that's so noticeable with an audience.
Like, once you start making a little bit more money, you could put more money into it. Because, like, I didn't start with, like, it's different if you start with millions of dollars and you're like, I'm going to buy a shop and buy crazy cars, I'm going to do all this stuff, Yeah. And then there's normal people.
Yeah, that have to struggle to get there.
Yeah.
All right, dude, changing directions just a little bit here. You're stranded with 3 car influencers during an apocalypse. Who are they and who's getting eaten first, brother?
Wow. I have no idea.
That's a tough one.
Who's getting eaten? They have to be car influencers?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, who's a good survivalist? Or, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it would just be like, like Jeremiah, because he's my friend, and
someone to pass the time with,
and
shoot the shit with.
Yeah, and like someone else I could have fun with and just die quickly. Because, like, I don't know. I always think about, like, zombie apocalypse shows or, like, stranded on an island. Like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm out in, like, 4 days, Like, I'm going to eat a berry that poisons me or, like, get mauled by a bear.
So
like,
you don't think you're going to make it?
No, I'm not going to even make it. Yeah, I'm going to go drink salt water until I just, like, I don't want it, man. I can't make it.
I'm with you on that, honestly. That's a really tough question.
I'm like, who can I not get sick of? I'm like, if only I knew what people did. If someone knew how to, like, I don't know, start a fire and build a hut.
Yeah,
down. It'd have to,
it'd kind of prolong your stay a little bit.
Yeah, it would have to be like, I don't know, like a Tavarish or something. Who, like, you're like, that guy could build stuff. Maybe he could, like, go with Rob Dom so he could, like, engineer a building or something.
Good point. Rob would be a good guy to have. If you had to build your dream car only using AutoZone parts, what are you driving out with?
I mean, AutoZone parts. I guess I would have to buy like a C6 Z06.
Yeah. Something that they have everything.
They'd have most of the
like
parts.
Like a Camry.
I think I would do a C6 Z06, like a Trailblazer SS or something like nonsense that just easy to work on. Yeah.
Super common.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's sort of the mentality of, like, building a race car.
Yeah.
You sort of, if you're going to be out at a track, which are always in the sticks, but there's always an AutoZone within 30 minutes of a racetrack, your best bet is an LS swap.
Yeah.
Or an actual GM product or a Ford product, because they're probably going to have starters, alternators, belts.
Yeah, I would go with something simple, LS powered. Even though I think LSs are boring, but still.
Good answer. I like it. They are boring, and we can maybe get into that later. But what's the pettiest reason you've ever hated someone else's car build? I know what my answer is.
Pettiest reason I've ever hated someone else's car build.
Assuming you've ever hated someone else's car build, like, I don't really.
I don't really hate a lot of car builds. I'm like, just do whatever the hell you want.
Like, what about like WRXs you see on the freeway with, like, the red mud flaps?
Nah, those I don't care about. I think I hate more of the obnoxious stuff where you're like, You got a
bro?
car with like wing end plates that are like red, clear Lexan, and they're like in the shape of like, you know,
flame.
like a flame, not even a flame, like it's like a penis or something. And you're like, well, they could stop with this nonsense builds, you know, like I guess like stuff like that. That's like car joke culture stuff. I'm like, just, I don't know.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah. Like just do something else.
Well, that's a great answer because of going back to the first question, which you said you sort of geeked out on, you know, modding cars that were only cool to guys that were in the scene.
Yeah.
And knew what you actually did.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Just like cringe cars.
The flamboyant stuff.
Yeah. Cringe cars aren't it for me. Yeah.
If you could build any car with the homeboy Brian Scotto, what would it be and why?
Okay. It would be a car that I kind of already have, but is it for me or is it just to build?
I didn't really think that far into the question.
If I had to rally him into building something with me, it would be...
That's sort of where I wanted you to go.
Yeah, it would be a VR6 Turbo, hull deck swapped, all-wheel drive Mark II GTI.
Dude, that's so specific.
Because
you guys have talked about this.
Yeah, like I could do that, and like he would be into it because it's dumb Volkswagen stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be an all-wheel drive Turbo VR swap, 100%.
If I told you I got like 80% of that right in my head, would you...
No, I figured. I mean, come on, man. You can predict that. It's like what I have. Just add a turbo and all-wheel drive, and we're money.
And Scott was into it, so he'd show up.
Oh, yeah, he'd be there. Yeah. He actually came out to Connecticut when we did my GTI project.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Brian's such a good dude.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out what motivates Brian to get him to actually like really get in there and get his hands dirty, right?
Talking. If you want a 7-hour podcast, invite him out.
I'm going to invite him out. Absolutely. If it's 7 hours, it's 7 hours. I'm going to dig in.
Yeah, clear your day.
So, Vin, what's something about your life people would never guess just by watching your videos? Is there anything that like for me, it's ice hockey. I play a lot of ice hockey. I play 3-4 times a week, but most of our audience has no clue about that.
Oh, interesting.
Is there anything you do that's like, maybe it's something you do with the wife or, you know, something you guys dig into? Maybe it's a TV show you watch or.
No, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty like transparent with everything I do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're big into we're like foodies and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, which is funny because I never, ever, ever post food.
Yeah, you don't.
No, I don't.
I would have not.
But like we're big into it,
well.
but we never do that stuff. Okay. So I'm like, I don't
that's
know.
your personal time.
That's probably something that I think people would be surprised by, but like maybe not. I don't know. I have a Ferrari. They probably expect me to eat charcuterie, you know?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Your Ferrari's cool.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's cool.
Charcuterie is more of the.
There's one thing that makes it cool. It's slammed.
Oh, of course. Well, good wheels, slammed.
Yeah. But people are like, just raise it.
And it's
I'm like,
relatable.
no, can't raise it. It's got to be slammed.
All right, we're on the home stretch here.
Okay.
I love that answer, by the way. What's one thing you wish your audience really knew about you, but probably doesn't? This is another step to this question.
I think if I wish they knew about me is that I go through all the same struggles that they do.
Yeah.
I think people put like a rosy glow on creators or like they see the cars I have or whatever and they're like, it's all easy, but I struggle with confidence. I struggle with, happiness. I struggle with time management, personal relationships, everything. Like,
well, that's all normal people.
Yeah,
things.
it's all normal people stuff.
But when you're on YouTube, you put on a smile and you put all that stuff kind of off.
I would say I just want people to know that we're all the same. Like no matter, and I know a lot of very successful people. I know a lot of really rich people. I know a lot of people who are regular, and we all go through the same shit. No matter how good someone's life looks on the surface, doesn't mean that they have a whole bunch of stuff that they're dealing with. So, don't.
Every human being does.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Last question, buddy. So feel free to elaborate. If YouTube disappeared tomorrow, what was your dumb plan B?
Okay. So right now I'm trying to build a plan B.
Okay.
Because I do think that the smart way to do YouTube is to build your YouTube, build an audience, and then do something that audience will care about.
Yeah.
So for me, it's going to be a car dealership for sure. I look at brands like RMC Miami,
dude,
like Ryan Friedman, all these guys, just sick cars. Like RMC is my dream. Like being able to buy amazingly sick cars, drive them and enjoy them, and then sell them to people and I would create content around them and stuff. Like that to me is my dream.
And he's doing that.
Yeah, he's doing it. But I would also want to.
I literally watched one of his videos last night.
Yeah.
With
E30 M3. No.
Yeah. I actually watched a video that he did with my buddy Javier from TRC, where they took out 4 of the cars.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
The 2 Porsches, the Ferrari, and the GTR R34.
So sick.
And, I put it on just to pass time.
But the cars are so cool. The reality
was, like, and it wasn't, like, no offense to Javier, it wasn't that the content was, like, overwhelmingly good. It was just that the story of his business, how he acquires these cars from all over the world, brings them into his shop, how he shares them with other creators, allows them to make content. Javier killed it. The video was super in depth, and RMC is definitely something that even I aspire. Like, I think it's really cool.
I would love to do that. The only thing I think I would add is doing like some kind of like high end, like more puristy cars, like 997 GT3 RSs that are like stock and shit, like sell those. But I would love to do that. And then I'm starting a business that I can't talk about right now that we're working on a product that I think will be really helpful for people.
Cool. I can't wait to hear more about that.
Yeah. So if YouTube ended, I would want, I mean, the thing is, it's like car dealerships. I think you need money to start them. You can't just have nothing. So
RMC started from, I think it stood for Real Muscle Cars.
Yeah.
Which is the furthest thing from what he's doing at the moment.
Right. But you need money.
His father's business, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, I would love to get into wheeling and dealing cars. Like, but fun stuff. Like, I don't want to be a car salesman, but like, I love cars, and like buying them is fun. Finding them is fun.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Unfortunately, unless you're like a billionaire who has a mechanic to stay and like tend to all their cars, I just kind of want to love them and leave them,
Dude, that is the perfect answer for that question. I share a lot of the same thoughts and opinions as you across a lot of these questions. So it's interesting to sit down with you and actually understand that and get to know you a little better. We know each other enough. But
yeah, man, it's been fun.
I appreciate your time coming down here today.
Dude, thanks for having me.
We're going to wrap it there. And if you've got any last words for the audience or for your viewers, feel free to speak away.
Appreciate your creators. They put in a lot of work to make videos for you. Other than that, no, I appreciate everyone who does watch my content. If you want to check it out, it's Vintra. Maybe they'll link it below.
We'll absolutely link it below.
But put out a lot of effort. I put in a lot of effort to try to make good videos for you guys. It's a ton of work, but I really love it. I'm super thankful for knowing people like you guys from my time at Hoonigan. I've met so many great people in the industry, and it's been super fun, man. It's crazy, this world that we're all building together to make automotive YouTube
content. Wild West, baby.
Hey, man, it's sick. Like, I love seeing the scene grow. Cars have gotten cooler in the last couple of years to like a general public, and like I think it's just good for all of us. So it's so sick.
Agreed. The internet has made the car world so much cooler just because how accessible everything is now.
Yeah, it's so sick. I love
so
it,
many
man.
cool creators coming to the forefront and making cool content, building cool cars, and sharing it with the world. It changes the way everyone's doing things. So,
dude, I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm not sick of it yet.
Same.
So I'm hyped.
Same, man. Well, thanks again, Vin. And we'll have to have you down here for part 2.
All right, man. Thank you.
Bro.